What's good, everyone? This is RawTruth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Please like and share this video throughout all social media platforms. So Jackson State just lost to Alabama State. First off, congratulations to Eddie Robinson and Alabama State. One of the things that I do like about their program, their football team, is that their identity is defense. They're a physical team. Even when Jackson State had all that talent the past 2.5 years, Alabama State always gave Jackson State fits, even though they won those games. I believe last year the score, and correct me if I was wrong, the score was 26-12. And not a lot of SWAC teams threw a lot of fits at Shadur like Alabama State. Fast forward to this year, Alabama State, they were just a physical team. They didn't make a bunch of turnovers. Jackson State turned over the ball so many times. I'm going to give T.C. Taylor benefit of the doubt. This is his first year. Sometimes we forget that there's a process to winning, and there's a process to shaping a team's identity. If Jackson State plays a clean game, none of these games will be close. Remember what I pointed out about the second half against Alabama A&M last week? And there was a couple people thought I was a little bit too harsh, but I was being honest. You got to blow teams out when you have a chance. You cannot fumble the ball. You cannot have countless of penalties. That can be any team. I don't care what conference it is. I don't care what game it is. You can lose a lot of games doing that. Let's be honest. FAMU right now, I don't think FAMU's going to lose any other SWAC games. Truthfully, even if FAMU just loses 2 games, they're still in the driver's seat. So the best thing for Jackson State going forward throughout the season, there's 4 games left. Try to win all your games. And if you look back at it and your overall record is 8-3, that looks damn good. You could look back and say, man, we slipped up in this game, but we built for the future. But let me go back to the game, and I'll chime in on what's next for Jackson State. The turnovers. I've been telling you guys that Jackson State needed to clean the turnovers and bad penalties. It's going to catch up with them. And it caught up with them in this game. It was a bunch of fumbling. Jason Brown fumbled. Irv Mulligan, who's Mr. Reliable, fumbled. Jacobian, I think that Seven McGee fumbled. Man, it was a mess. Turnovers. And for Jason Brown, he's a nice guy. Gives back to the community. But I'm just talking about his game. Kind of conservative with his playing style. A lot of check downs. I know he didn't throw an interception, but he didn't throw for any touchdowns either. Shout out to Desmond Moultrie. He was playing with a lot of heart. When Irv Mulligan was down, then you look back and said, who's going to move the ball for this offense? Irv Mulligan has been the most consistent, I repeat, the most consistent player on this team. When he left, he was averaging a whopping 5.2 yards per carry. And when you don't have that, you saw Alabama State blitz like crazy. Alabama State has so many talented DBs. Adrian Maddox, Chauncey Moore. That team lives off defense and making you make the most mistakes to throw you off your game. And they did a damn good job of that in this matchup. One of the bright spots for the Jackson State defense is they held Keyshawn Johnson in check. He's their leading receiver, very talented. Held him to just 46 yards. If you look at the numbers, Jackson State's defense did a solid job. Now, they gave up some runs here and there, especially in the second half. But passing, they only gave up 91 yards passing. And before you go and say, well, Alabama State doesn't have a prolific offense, Damon Stewart has been doing a solid job since he's been starting. So I'm going to give credit to Jackson State's defense for stepping up. But when you turn over the ball as much as Jackson State did in this game, 3 turnovers, 3 fumbles, you could lose to any team in this conference. But once again, I'm gonna go back to Irv Mulligan. When they found out he had, like, I believe, a foot injury or leg injury, and he couldn't return, the offense sputtered. Now, it was already questionable because the fast tempo, everything that we all saw from week 0 against South Carolina State, I don't know, maybe they scrapped it off the playbook. Maybe the quarterback on the team, who was a good guy, maybe he's having trouble grasping the offense. Something has been off with his offense. Jacobian Morgan. He has a lot of potential, and I'm mentioning him because he can be the Cam Newton of the SWAC if he gets more plays in a game. The most important thing about Jackson State is their future. So if this was me, if I was a coach, I'm not trying to tell TC what to do. He's earned his stripe. He's a great brother. But you got a lot of talented quarterbacks on this roster. Zion McDonald. I mentioned Jacobian Morgan, Phillip Short. If he wants to use 3 quarterbacks in a game, the way this offense looks, I wouldn't even blame TC. But great offenses require rhythm. Everybody could say, man, it's an offensive coordinator. But what if the personnel doesn't match the play calling? And that can happen. Not making excuses for Maurice Harris. I think he is a talented offensive coordinator. And we all saw glimpses of what the Jackson State offense could be. Don't forget, there's injuries with this team. If you look at just looking on the field, you see certain players who usually start, especially on the defense, not even play. So you got to take account of that. But with this game, I'm just disappointed how Jackson State wasn't efficient and having a lot of penalties and just making the game more difficult than what it needed to be. But you have to give credit to Alabama State. You could look at social media, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Everybody has been dissing Eddie Robinson. This team could have folded, especially when they lost to Miles College earlier in the season. But they kept playing hard and playing hard. They played FAMU well this year. They only lost 23-10. No moral victories, but still, they were in that game. They should have beaten Alcorn State. They lost to them in overtime, 23-20. So they had, if you look back at it, Alabama State could have been undefeated this year. If a couple plays went their way, if they would have changed the quarterback, and I hate to say it because Demetrius Davis, he's from the crib, he's from H-Town, so I always want the H-Town kids to ball out. But the quarterback change was necessary. At least the offense looks more stable. But shout out to Alabama State for getting the win. Hats off to the whole team. You guys deserved it. For Jackson State, hey, man, you just got to see what the process goes. But on paper, Jackson State has talent. They're not losing games because of lack of talent or some bullshit some other people say. They're losing games off of injuries and not being aligned and assigned correctly. Now, you could say that's coaching, but players got to be accountable too on knowing where to be on the field and executing the plays. I bet you everything that if Jackson State plays a clean game going forward the rest of the 4 games, they'll win all their games. I guarantee you. If Jackson State played a clean game, would they have lost to FAMU 28-10 this year, having a special team blunders and just being off? When JSU cleans that ish up, look out. But if you're a fan of JSU, don't panic. Just watch how the season goes. But let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this game against Alabama State. And if you're at Alabama State, you have the right to talk your ish because you won. So give me your opinion. This is RawTruth Media, and I'm out.